Hi everyone, Justine Luzzi here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for checking out this video. This is the February 2020 Intuitive Hits and Downloads Energy Read for the month. And I've been getting a lot of downloads about the upcoming month. And it's an interesting month because it's a leap year, right? So we have 29 days in February, but a lot of interesting things came through. I came up with, let me see, it's five main points. Five main things that you're gonna kind of see, and this is for the collective consciousness, right? So when I say collective consciousness, I mean everybody as a whole. We're all connected. We're never separate, so we are all most of the time experiencing a lot of the same things. So this is kind of where I'm pulling it from, right? So it would be awesome to see if this resonates with you guys. Please put in the comments if it does. Even if it does not, any questions, anything like that would be wonderful. So I'm just going to jump right into it because we have a lot to cover. So first things first, not on such a wonderful note, but again, I'm always committed to being the messenger and making sure that I get the information out there, even if it's not exactly what we want to hear, right? So basically what's happening here is I feel this very, very strong energy of family conflict and not just conflict, but more of separation or not being on the same page or all of the above. It's just not going to be a pretty picture for February. I've also got, in the last couple of weeks, it kind of started where there are things that are just not, you guys are just butting heads. And the thing is that it's not necessarily that, all of a sudden it's really great with your family and then all of a sudden it's really tumultuous or chaotic. Those are the words I kind of like to use when I'm talking about high conflict. It's almost like it was kind of building up in a way. That's why I say in January I felt a lot of this energy with our family. A lot of conflicts, but these conflicts need to be resolved because they're very, very deep conflicts. And what I mean by that is that it's almost like it's coming to a head, and that's another reason why I feel like it's gradual and it's not really all of a sudden. It's really a buildup of it. So it's either somebody is not speaking their truth, or there is like a family secret that everybody just doesn't talk about, or there's some childhood stuff that really needs to be rendered here. All of that's going to be coming up in February. It's going to be a lot. Most of the time, the person that is the most conscious would definitely, if you consider yourself a black sheep, it's probably you. The person that kind of goes against the grain of what's normal within family dynamics. But what's happening here, again, is that it doesn't necessarily feel like it is going to come out of the blue, and it doesn't necessarily feel like it could be pertaining to the black sheep alone. It feels like it doesn't really fit in a lot of different places for a lot of different families. So definitely take it easy. That is the guidance that I have for you today, is take it easy. Try your hardest with your delivery. I know for myself, delivery is usually the hardest thing for me. And try to do a loving delivery the best that you can. And that includes also, on top of that, emotionally validating everybody, right? Everybody's feelings are valid in a family. Most of the time, the universe does not give us peaceful families. I mean, there's always something, right? And there is something to that, is that we need to look at it in the lens of spiritual growth, no matter how painful it is. And I am going through this already. So I would not be surprised if it happens all of February and actually goes a little bit into March too. Yeah, keep that in mind. Okay, so the second thing that I want to talk about that's been coming up a lot in my own personal readings, and as well as my clients, is that there is a redirect happening. So, and it's getting a lot of people frustrated because it almost feels like you're doing double work. And let me go ahead and explain this, because basically what's happening is we're on a path and we believe this is the path. This is the way. I'm going to create a website for this. I'm going to start an Instagram account with that kind of thing. You go full into it because that's you, right? That's the beginning of the year. You hit the ground running, right? You hit the ground running with your ideas. Now you're feeling like this idea is not exactly aligned with you so much as you thought in the beginning of the year, or you thought last year, or you thought 2 weeks ago. right? So now it's coming to a point where you're saying, oh my gosh, now I have to redirect everything that I just did. So it's almost like a starting over, but I'd like to call it a redirect because it's almost like it's not something completely different. It's almost like it's related to the particular thing that you are redirecting, right? So it's actually related in some way. And it's not that big of a deal to have to kind of backtrack is the word that kind of comes up. Backtrack and just go in a different direction. Don't keep, and this is the message and the guidance that I have for you around this, is don't keep forcing it. If it doesn't feel aligned anymore and you know in your hearts of hearts, in your soul, that it just, this path is not where you want to keep going, you don't find enjoyment, there's no joy here, you know that there's a redirect that needs to happen, go with the redirect. I know, you know, especially, and not even just time and energy, guys, money. I see us as a collective consciousness investing money in something. And so that's like, really hard to accept, right? That we put our money in something, we just don't want to do that anymore. We want to do something that's a little bit different, and it's kind of like we're taking a loss, right? So it's time, energy, and money with this, but that's okay, right? Because this redirect feels really good. It feels like it's setting you up for spring energy. I know we're talking about February, but it's definitely going to move you into the next 3 months. I see March being, March is spring, right? Yeah, so that's the following month. So I see you setting yourself up for March in February with this redirect, but do not go against the resistance. Please listen to your intuition and please move into it. Something tells me you guys are already having these thoughts, you already are having these feelings, and you know that the direction that you're going in and you thought was the direction is not exactly where you need to be putting your time, your money, and your energy. So the sooner we can realize that and accept that, the sooner we can turn it around and do that redirect, okay? Okay, so the third thing that's coming up is movement, and mostly energy movement, but also physical movement. So there's a lot of different, there's a lot of internal changes happening, and this could actually piggyback off of what's happening in the family dynamics of this, of what I said, the first thing, is that there's a lot of moving parts, and I don't know if you guys go ahead and did the energy healing for January, but there's a lot of stuff moving around. So that means that we're seeing different perspective shifts, and we're seeing, I would actually go as far as to say very uncommon, I guess would be the word, physical changes, or something happening to us, like it manifesting physically, right? And then going to the physical movement part, it's important to move your body to get that energy that's happening internally moved around, right? So what's going on internally, let's move it out, you know, on the outside body, right? And also moving is going to, energetic moving came through, but moving the body is going to help a lot in the creative places, creative spaces, I guess, or your creative self, right? It's actually going to really help. Like, I'm feeling like it's somewhere, like I'm getting this message where it's pretty much trying to help you, assist you, and support you in unblocking the sacral and the solar chakra, which are the ones that are down below, linked to creativity. I can't speak today. Creativity, also sensuality, sexuality, power, empowerment center, right? Confidence, all of those things. So we're trying to move the energy around there. Again, that's energy healing, and that's within the body, but by moving ourselves, actually moving our physical bodies, it will definitely help with that as well. So if you are thinking of taking a dance class, if you are thinking of going to a dance club and you don't usually do that, this is the month to do it. I know it's could be cold in some areas, right? I'm wearing a beanie. I'm here in New York City. But get your ass to the club if you need it. If you need it, and really kind of dance away the night, okay? That is really going to help with the physical movement, okay? And again, sensuality, creativity, and that's really going to set you up for any creative projects that come in the next couple of months. And like I said, it feels like in spring energy in March, we're going to need some of that flow, right? Okay, so the fourth thing. All right, so this was one that I needed to hear as well, and I have been hearing. So this is let go of past lovers. So basically what's happening here is that I keep getting this message that we continue to hold on to our lovers in our thoughts and our heart. And it's usually the message that I'm getting, it could be from years past, but it feels more like it's particularly pertaining to something that just happened, or the last lover or the last relationship that you've had. If you are currently in a relationship now, this is actually especially important to you to hear, because by us not letting go of that last relationship, or the energy of it feels like anger. It feels angry. It feels disturbed. It feels disgusted. Disgusted is a really good word that comes up. We need to release that, because that is going to affect the current relationship. At least people that are single are not affecting other people. They're not in a dynamic. But if you're in a relationship, your past relationship stuff is going to start affecting the dynamic this month, if you don't become conscious of it. And hopefully you are now hearing this and knowing that you need to release it, you need to heal it, you need to let it go, you need to detach from it. And again, it feels like feelings of disgust or disturbance or annoyance or anger. It's all negatively impacting you vibrationally. So that's the other thing too. We need to feel good to be able to, and now I'm talking to the single people, to be able to attract the right type, the aligned type of partner that we actually want. And by doing that, we can create a new healthy relationship. But basically these thoughts, and it feels more like thoughts, right? You keep having these repetitive cycles in your head, and that's actually, guys, we are manifesting all of the time, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. So that's the other thing too. Stop letting them take up space in your head at this particular moment. It's time to let go in the month of February, to make room for what works, right? There's a lot of soulmate energy this year. And I'm talking to you single people. If you want to be in a nice, loving, healthy relationship with your soulmate this year, it's so important to let this go. How do you let it go? My guidance is always intuitive healing. And what I mean by that is that move into what feels good as far as the healing modality that works best for you in this particular situation. So if you feel called to do some type of energy work, I talk about this a lot. Crystal healing works best for me. I actually just recently got a DNA activation, but that's not necessarily for releasing thoughts about my ex. But there are different things that you can possibly do. Meditation is always the answer. I always say that. I think everyone should at least try it and do it. Not only does it help you control your thoughts, but it really brings a more connected feeling to God and universe, source, however you want to say it. So there's a ton of different ways that you can start to release those thoughts and start, making room. And if you're in a relationship, making sure that we don't contaminate the existing dynamic, right? So yeah, that's an important one. All right, so the last one here, the fifth one, I wrote down balancing act of intuition and logic. Here's the thing, guys. I consider myself highly intuitive, clearly, right? And I'm also a logical, practical person at the same time. Do I believe my intuition sometimes trumps that? 100%. But you can be both. And that's the message that's kind of coming through, because it's important that we find the balance of it, because we need to have this balance to survive in this world, and to empower ourselves and to make a living and to have relationships and to get where we need to go, and like all of those things. And it comes down to balancing the, it's just another way of balancing the masculine and the feminine energy. We always need to have a balance, and it's the same thing with ego and higher self, right? I know we always talk about ego being the enemy, which it is to an extent, but we also need it to survive here, and we have it for a reason. I mean, God, universe, source does not make mistakes. We have an ego for a reason. It's just a call back to balance. This is, I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about winter energy, right? I was just talking about spring energy. We are in winter. So basically what that means is like rest, recharge, and that kind of thing. So we need to set ourselves up. Like right now, it's not necessarily like crazy, chaotic, let's do energy. It's more about rest and recharge, which means make sure that we get a good balance of our logic and our intuition, and make sure that we're setting ourselves up for when springtime comes, because it feels like springtime is definitely the time to get things going, right? Is to move, do a lot of action. But right now it's really about the balancing act that we really need to perfect this month. It's important that we know what situations to use what in, and it's also important for us to understand when we need to turn it off and when we need to turn it on. And that's a question that I get a lot as an intuitive, is like, how do I turn it on? How do I turn it off? There are ways. You have to be, I can credit everything to my spiritual awakening 7 years ago, where it pretty much taught me everything I needed to know about myself, my higher self, and who I operate, how I operate, why I operate, just everything down to the T. So for me, I know exactly what to do to either heighten it or use more of my logical brain, or when it's time to step into crunch numbers. And, I run a business, so I have to do some of that stuff sometimes, right? So that's where I need to have the balance. Balancing intuition and balancing logic. Okay. I don't know what I was going to say there. All right, guys, that was it. That was those 5 things. So let me go ahead and repeat it. So first is family conflict and separation. Number 2 is the redirect. Number 3 is energetic movement. That's both internally, getting everything kind of going internally, and then that also means moving your body. We have let go of past lovers, past exes, and the animosity and the toxicity of it. And then the balancing act of intuition and logic. These are things that we should be focusing on this month coming up, and these are things that I foresee being affecting us as the collective consciousness. So hopefully that was helpful. I really would love to know if this resonates with you guys. Please put in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel. I do these every month. This is only my second one, but I plan on doing them every single month. And I do weekly readings as well for the collective consciousness. So please subscribe. And I do some extra stuff as well about angel numbers, empathic support, spiritual awakenings, kundalinis, things like that. So really a ton of spiritual knowledge. So please subscribe to my video. And I can't wait for the next one. And again, hopefully this resonated with you guys. Please put in the comments if it did, if it didn't, any questions, anything along those lines. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks for always watching. Bye.